So we have Miss Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And if you guys have been under a rock, then you probably haven't heard of the Lifetime special that she's dropping. Basically, everybody knows that she's doing this Lifetime special. There's a lot of skepticism behind it. A lot of people have their own opinions. But I thought that this would be the perfect time to kind of take a look at present day Gypsy Rose and what she's been up to. And I can't help but take it back to when she was with Ryan Anderson. And, you know, just to see what she was like with Mr. Anderson. If there was any chemistry that was actually there, because even through a camera, you can kind of sense chemistry. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, we did a stream the other night, and it was pretty good. We had a good time. I'm going to show you the best snippets that we got, and it kind of just reinforces what I was saying. You know, she manipulated poor Ryan, made him feel like she was really for him. Then when she's out of prison, she goes right back to the one that she was dealing with originally. She has no loyalty. She bounces. But anyways, let's go ahead and check this thing out. I love you guys, man. Let's do this thing. From the start of this interview, she gets weird. Like, she starts getting into why she shouldn't be called a murderer and why. It's just like minutes into it, she's already defending herself. And I'm kind of like, you know, just let it flow. You don't have to, but you can tell it bothers her. It really gets to her.
You nervous at all?
No, I think I've been through so many interviews now.
Does it feel like second nature now at this point?
Kinda. Yeah.
Has it all been pretty much the same? Like everyone is.
Good Morning America was actually the hardest. Really? Yeah, there was a lot of difficult questions in that, and we just came from The View, and I was like, oh my God, I hope these ladies are not mean to me. They were all very, very nice.
How can anyone be mean to you?
I don't know. I mean, I did some international interviews last night. And one of the questions was like, how do you feel now that you're getting all this attention? You know, but, you know, you're a murderer.
Oh, my God.
So, like, she just flat out said it. It was a lady from the UK. And I'm kind of like, okay.
Oh.
And everybody in the room just, like, jumped up and was, like, ready to, like, fight? Or am I okay?
Yeah.
They were freaking out for me. And I'm like, no, guys, I got this. Like, it's something that I'm going to have to address. Because it's always in my comments, like, why are we glorifying a murderer and this and that and the other? And, you know, I don't want to have to remind people every single time that I'm not the one that committed the act of the kill. So, you know, I'm a part of it.
Right.
But in the state of Missouri, there's no such thing as accessory to murder. So.
See, I wasn't the one who was part of the kill. I didn't do the actual kill. You see what I'm saying? Listen, folks. Like, what? Ma'am, come on now. Let's be real. Let's be 100% right now. You are the mastermind. You're a lucky person. That's all this is. You're just, hold on, this microphone. Damn it. You're just a lucky person. That's all you are. Oh shit.
Technically,
they couldn't
charge me with accessory because that charge doesn't exist. So, I mean, had I been in another state, I would have been charged with accessory to commit murder.
Oh, that makes sense.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Gypsy, welcome to the Vial Files.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We always start our conversations with kind of a heavy question, but fun, so I don't want to startle you. But
okay.
Gypsy, how is your heart?
How is my heart?
Yeah.
My heart is very full.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to start by saying congratulations on being out.
Thank you.
We're so excited to be with you.
Thank you.
Such an incredible opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm. But
truly, like, what has this been like for you since being released from prison?
You know, it's a little bit of a whirlwind for me. It's been 8.5 years since I actually seen the outside walls. So coming out, I think everyone was just so sweet, and seeing my family for the first time in a setting that we could be comfortable in, that is what fills my heart with such happiness.
That's awesome.
So I'm just trying to just take it day by day, not get overwhelmed.
Leading up to you being released, what were those days like? Were you nervous, excited?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because about a month before, I had not.
Well, the thing is, she can run the narrative because her mother is dead now. So this is the whole thing. Say her mother got mangled by Nick, right, Mr. Godejan Cheese, and she survived, and she comes out of a coma or some shit, and then she testifies about her side of the story. I bet you Gypsy would still be in jail right now. There would be so many signs. There would be so much of everything. So again, she gets to run the narrative because she successfully got her kill bot to go and murder her mom. That's the only reason. And she is loving it. Because now she has successfully put up this front that she's the victim, 100%. She's the victim from Nick. She's the victim from her mom. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she is pretty smart for that move. I'm not going to lie.
Started feeling like it was real.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day of that, it was like the day of being released, or, the 24 hours leading up to it was when I really started to feel like, oh my God, there is a knot in my stomach right now. I am getting out tomorrow. And I felt like, okay, this is actually really happening, because I've been prepping for it for so long. I actually got my notification that I was getting paroled 2 years before my release date.
Oh, wow.
So I had 2 years to prepare
to sit on it.
to sit on it
Wow.
before it actually happened.
Was
So,
there any part of you that is excited as I'm sure you were to be released?
Mhm.
You spent 8.5 years there. Something I was so kind of captivated by watching your documentary
Mhm.
was you referencing that despite being in prison,
Mm.
it was your almost first taste of freedom.
It really
the ability
was.
to make friends.
Oh no, and it's interesting how everybody romanticizes the fact that she killed her mom. It's kind of weird. She's going on a press tour. She just did The Voice. She's doing this. She's doing so many things. Come on, this is for money. This is the most. Again, I'll go back to the rapper scenario. When they get out of jail and they're probably lowering their money because they've been paying lawyers. They've been paying this. They've been paying that. They've been paying for their baby mama, their kids. They've been supporting everybody while in jail. The second they get out of jail, they go on the interview. They make the music video. You know what I'm saying? They promote the music video. This is the same thing she's doing. She's trying to set herself up. But let me shut up and continue. That's all she knows how to do. Act like the victim. Get money so she can have no work. That's what it feels like. She scares me. I mean, she's a scary person. And for the people sleeping with her, and I mean actually going to sleep with her, that boy's stronger than me. That boy's stronger than me, because who knows if she just wants to try what Nick did in person. Who the fuck knows?
To do things for the first time. Was there any part of you that almost had any reluctancy to, leave that space and the friends, as crazy as it might sound, being in prison? Was there any nerves?
Of course. I mean, I had built a life for myself. I call prison a world within a world, because even though it's people have this misconception that prison is the same thing as a jail, and it's not. Actually, a jail is confined. It has cells. There's toilets in the room. But prison, you actually have a key to your room. Yeah, they keep it as much homey, I guess you could say, quote unquote homey, for inmates as possible. They have jobs in prison. They have.
Sweetheart, you didn't go to no fucking California prison. Relax. Okay? You went to a little small female cell prison. Oh, and it's actually nice in prison. It's better than jail. I have heard that. Prison is better than jail, but come on now. What prison was Gypsy Rose placed into? Chillicothe Correctional Facility. Okay. All right. No. Look at this shit. This looks like a university, bro. This looks like a college campus. Maybe that's just the front. These are like the aerial photos. These are like the cells and shit and whatnot. It actually does look a little comfy, a little homey. I ain't gonna lie to you. See what I'm saying? This is not prison everywhere. Like, if you go look up a California prison and tell me how homey that shit really is. I ain't gonna lie, shit's looking pretty decent though. Looking pretty clean or whatever. All right, cool. So she's not bullshitting. Let's continue.
Activities. Actually, we even had a Super Bowl party last year. So, I mean, prison is a world in itself. And so It was hard leaving my friends behind because I have some friends that have some very lengthy sentences.
Mm-hmm.
So the
you
last,
want to give a shout out to any of them?
yeah, to Amelia Bird.
Yeah.
You know, she actually has a very similar case to mine. And her case was, you know, featured on podcasts as well. So, you know, I was very close with her because we had a lot in common. I say we both have mommy issues. So
lean on each other.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When you left prison, I think the internet first lost their mind. You had your Dr. Pepper ready to go.
Your 24 pack.
And I gotta
bag
say,
of Snickers.
Nelly and I were a couple of soda fans ourselves. My two favorite sodas, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper. She's a Diet Coke girl. I'm dying to know.
I like Dr. Pepper.
That's your drink.
That's my go-to. Dr.
Okay.
Pepper is my go-to, and it's actually my husband's go-to as well.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, match made in heaven.
I love that. Now, if Coca-Cola ever approached you and said, Gypsy, we want you to be the spokesperson of Coca-Cola.
I'd have to turn them down because
You would.
I have to
That's
turn them
loyalty
down.
right there.
She is loyal.
Have you ever tried to mix Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper?
Listen, if Coca-Cola said, Gypsy, we have $1 million for you to be our spokesperson, Gypsy's not going to say, I'm loyal to Dr. Pepper. Fuck that. Gypsy, listen, from her morals, from what we can see, she's jumping on top of that Coca-Cola endorsement. You playing? Come on now. Be real with yourself. Come on.
Pepper together?
That sounds terrible.
Gypsy, I'm telling you, you got to try it. You got to try it. It's pretty good.
What's up,
Okay,
Marcy?
I'll try it.
Did
one
you-
time.
She thinks I'm crazy.
Did you see the Barbie movie?
I haven't, not
You
yet.
haven't seen
I
the
want
Barbie.
to though.
You have to.
I'm a total girly girl. So.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
has been your best first since being freed?
My best first. Oh my God. You know, there's been so many, but you know, cooking with my husband in the kitchen.
Okay.
I didn't know how to cook before. I still don't know how to cook now.
Does Dr. Pepper make people crazy? That is a good fucking question. When I was doing a video a few days ago, I was kind of like, yo, that's kind of weird. That's interesting. I saw the Dr. Pepper, but I didn't say nothing. I should have said something. I saw that shit. I was like, damn, she got Dr. Pepper too. What's with the Dr. Pepper fiends? There's a correlation. We need to know if it's causation or correlation to Dr. Pepper. Why are these crazy people drinking the Dr. Pepper? You know what I'm saying? Does the Dr. Pepper make them that way, or do crazies enjoy Dr. Pepper? We need to figure that one out. This is a scientific study that needs to be undergone. It needs to be studied because this shit is interesting. If your significant other, they could drink it, it's fine. But if that is their go-to, be afraid. Be warned. AG Tactical warned you. I know you might be sitting next to your man in the bed or whatever. You might be sitting next to your little family. If he's over there drinking a fucking Dr. Pepper, just, hey, I told you here first. All right.
But he's a great cook. So, you know, we were cooking in the kitchen and it was just a moment that we can, you know, spend together and just have some normalcy in our life right now.
No, cooking is all about preparation.
Is it?
Yeah, you just gotta get the ingredients right.
Listen, Nick's the cook too. I have no idea what I'm doing. So it's what I can make is edible.
Well,
So-
what was your favorite? What did you guys cook first? Like, what was the first meal you made together?
Okay, so it was sauteed chicken and corn and a pasta dish, like the Nor pasta
Ooh.
sides.
Okay.
And the funniest thing is, here he is telling me, like, pour the milk. It's a half a cup of milk. I pour a cup and a half of milk. And he's like, no, pour it back in the jug. And I'm like, oh, this is horrible. I'm sorry. I don't know how to cook.
I mean, it's like, again, like cooking it's about being, in a way, especially when you're doing it with it's a way of being connected and doing things together.
It is.
can
It
be
was
fun.
great.
That is awesome. I think part of what fascinates me about your story is just the fact that for much of your life, you haven't been able to make choices for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you were going through the abuse from your mother, you weren't able to make choices for yourself. And like I said, prison itself, but even then you're limited to make choices. And now that you're free, I think the world is fascinated by like, what are you watching? What do you want to eat? Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
what are the things that you're being gravitated to, you know, that you've maybe your whole life have wondered, what is this like? You know, what are things that you have fascinated about trying or experiencing, knowing that for much of your life?
Gypsy said something really telling earlier on in this interview. She said she did CBS or some fuck shit, some channel, right? Shout out the channel who covered her, whatever. She said, "Oh, but they asked hard questions." I mean, are there easy questions out here? But this is what she means, though. Oh, people are so fascinated about what you're watching and like, what are you gravitated to? And these are all softball ass questions. What I really wish is that Gypsy went on like a reputable podcast. Somebody like, I don't even know who. None of these small YouTube channels or whatever, big YouTube channels. She should have went to somebody who was like a professional and gave her interview and got some real fucking questions. Or she could have went to a YouTuber, whatever. But this little whole The Voice tour, these little jump around questions like, oh, what do you like? How was prison? What's your favorite drink? Oh my God. This shit is bullshit, bro. And it's almost like they're purposely, well, I mean, it's not like, they are purposely avoiding tough questions for her.
And social media, I didn't have much of a social media presence before I got arrested either. So I'm coming into learning about all this kind of stuff. And the first TV show I watched was Obi-Wan Kenobi because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Are you?
So yeah, it came out last year. So I was like, oh my God, I'm dying to see this.
That was a good series.
So it was like the first thing I watched.
Okay.
You know, I'm definitely trying different foods. I'm getting acclimated to freedom. The first like 48 hours, I felt like I just wanted to do everything all at once. And I have to really pace myself.
Did you sleep much that first night out?
I didn't. It actually got released at like 3:30 in the morning. They released me a little bit different than other inmates. Usually other inmates get out at around 8 a.m. And they were very concerned about my safety because there was also a lot of media around the prison at that time. So
who picked you up?
My husband. Yeah, he picked me up. And then we drove to a hotel that we got locally. So just in case that was the way they released me, he could be there to pick me up at a short time, you know, a short notice. And then we spent the night, you know, we had our first intimate moments as husband and wife, got to consummate our marriage, which was great.
We go.
And clearly it seemed to live up to expectations.
It did.
Okay, good.
I don't know. Now, Gypsy's not no virgin. She had psycho sex, she had married guy sex, and she had Ryan sex. The way she laughed, look at that face.
And clearly it seemed to live up to expectations.
Now, this is no smut on Ryan. Like, you know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is I don't think she liked him ever. And if she doesn't like you, then the dick isn't good no matter what. You could be putting it down if she don't like you. No, that's a lie. No, that's a lie. I'm just saying, I don't think she likes him.
We had our first intimate moments as husband and wife, got to consummate our marriage, which was great.
We go.
And clearly it seemed to live up to expectations.
It did.
Okay, good.
And then after that, you know, the next morning we had planned a little get together with my family, where I just got to spend time with my dad and my stepmom and my sister, and just really enjoy some family bonding time.
Yeah. Having sex for the first time with your husband, was it everything you expected it to be?
We're talking about having sex. Why can't we talk about the fire ass questions like, you know, what did you guys do while you're on the road? What did you guys talk about when you ran away from your mom after you killed her? We don't have to be that aggressive, but we could have eased into this. You know what I'm saying? We could have eased into, you know who oddly would have did a good interview was Joe Budden, I feel like. Maybe all the Joes, Joe Rogan or Joe Budden. They could have done a better job because at least they're just more open to asking questions. These people are programmed. They're like, yes, we're not going to ask her this, or that. We're going to ask her about the dick though. But we're not going to ask her about anything else that makes any other sense.
Were you nervous? Were you like, obviously you're so connected. Y'all are, you know.
No, I mean prison, Jason. My bad. Yeah. If I say jail, this is all prison, y'all. This is prison. Prison. Okay, here we go. I keep saying jail.
Married.
Right.
But you've never got to experience a closeness like most couples. So, what, you know, like how was that for the first time?
It was so sweet. And I have a past of sexual abuse. So I was molested when I was 9 by my grandfather. And then in my relationship with Nick, there was some sexual abuse. It was just a very toxic relationship. So, coming from a place where I never had a sex life, I never felt safe. It was like being used and abused, one person after another. So with Ryan, he didn't say, "Oh, we have to have sex the first night." It was like, if you want to, let it happen naturally. Because I was like trying to plan everything, and I was so nervous. I'm like, what happens if he doesn't like the way I look, or I'm nervous about just being naked too, because I have scars on my body, and so in prison, it's not like he got to see me before he married me. So they say you gotta drink the milk before you buy the cow. And that didn't happen for us. So I was extremely nervous. But then within 10 minutes, I was like, okay, this is happening. And I felt totally comfortable and totally safe.
That's awesome. I can relate to you. I was also sexually assaulted at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
I know how much that takes control over your life.
Mm-hmm.
Was she not on BDSM sites? No, but I mean, that kind of checks out. You have a fucked up sexual, I feel like you have a more fucked up sexual desire than most if you're molested, at a young age. It kind of fucks up your whole view on things. So I do agree. I mean, it checks out. If she was on those types of websites, super, super young, then it would check out. But, I can't say nothing about that. We don't know if that happened or not. So I guess we'll take her word for it.
In the documentary, obviously, we saw your grandfather have
a bizarre reaction.
Mm-hmm.
It was a disgusting reaction. When you heard that was his reaction, what was your thought?
Well, I came to a place, actually, before he did that interview, I had came to a place where I was going to call him and say, I forgive you. I was going to say that for me, for him, and just be done with it.
Hold on.
When you heard that was his reaction, what was
wait
all over your life?
Mm-hmm.
In the documentary, obviously, we saw your grandfather have
a bizarre reaction.
Mm-hmm.
It was
okay. What was her grandfather's reaction? Probably fuck Gypsy, right? I don't know. Let's continue.
Disgusting reaction. When you heard that was his reaction, what was your thought?
Well, I came to a place, actually, before he did that interview, I had came to a place where I was going to call him and say, I forgive you.
Listen to me.
Gypsy told us that there may have been abuse that went on in this house.
With who?
With you.
No, we always would.
So that's not true at all.
No,
Why do you think Gypsy would say that if it's...
I don't know. I don't know, baby.
I don't know, baby.
She would try to tell.
Whoa, what was the baby? The baby came out of nowhere. The bro is kind of creepy. He's still getting at him. I don't know, baby, but we could go to my room and have a drink of some scotch and see what happens a little bit later. Baby, what the fuck?
Why do you think Gypsy would say that if it's...
I don't know. I don't know, baby. She would try to touch me. I said, no, don't do that. She was the one that was trying
Oh yeah,
to
blame the
touch
child.
me. I said, no, don't do that. When she started that when she was about 4 years old. I said, don't do that. And that's about it.
I was going to say that for me, for him, and just be done with it. And then he got
wasn't
interviewed,
lying.
and I heard about his reaction. And I'm like, how could you? Not only are you saying that you didn't, but you're saying that I'm the one as a child at
4 years old.
I'm the one that was trying to do things.
You don't even know what that is at 4 years old.
No, absolutely not. I'm not.
Children are just on and touching and doing things. The fuck? No, don't do that. She doesn't even know what the fuck. Don't do. Put her on the bed and come on. This is ridiculous. That's the most stupid. That's a guilty person. That's how I knew he was guilty though. That's how, I'm stuttering. That's how I knew he was for sure guilty. Saying that the 4-year-old was the one touching me. Okay, yep, it's official. He could have left it at, no, I didn't do that. No, that's ridiculous. Why did she say that about you? I don't know. I could go with that. I could rock with that. And then he goes and says, but she would touch me and I would tell her no. Okay, you did it. It's official.
I'm not going to get into graphic details, but it was disgusting.
Yeah.
And it left me with a lot of insecurities. And just, I felt like I didn't have a healthy growth of a sexual, upbringing. So now it's kind of like I'm trying my best
to rebuild
that
totally.
And feel comfortable and safe within my own body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you talk to anyone on your mom's side?
I have. My mother's side is actually, they do want to have communication with me. Mostly my cousins.
Okay.
Yeah, your one cousin on the documentary.
The tattoo artist.
The tattoo
yeah,
artist. I was like, I
Bobby.
kind of like this guy. It was great.
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with him at all?
Yeah, I have a relationship with my cousin Bobby and my cousin Tiffany. They're both very close to me. Actually, I have an appointment in like 2 weeks to get my first tattoo.
What are you gonna
What do you
get?
get?
Bobby's gonna be doing it.
Of course, he has to.
So I'm wanting to get a matching tattoo with my stepmom Christy. So there's this symbol and it's called a unilome.
Okay.
And basically it's a little squiggly line that basically means that the path to enlightenment and
That's so
like a
cliche.
self-awareness is mixed with twists and turns, but it doesn't make it any less beautiful. And I want to get that on the back of my neck.
Yes, I love
Love
that.
You got a few.
I hate people with the long ass fucking biblical ass proportion fucking tattoo design meanings. Like this spider is on my hand because it represents the struggle that I had to overcome in this, and it came to me in my dream, and then I just knew that it needed to be placed there to represent the strength. It's like, oh my fuck, just get a tattoo and shut come on. There's people like this everywhere. It's not just Gypsy. Just in general, whenever people start talking, I mean, I have a lot of tattoos, and I mean, whenever people start talking like that, I'm just like, oh my god, do people think I'm like this? Like, I gotta distance myself a little bit.
A few of our own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Watching the documentary, I was again captivated by how you spoke about prison. And when you first got to prison, I want to know, like, what were those first days like?
Mhm.
And then
Hold on, let me respond to this. You have tattoos with deep meanings, but you don't go around talking about it. No, exactly. I feel like you can, and you probably should have a lot of tattoos with deep meaning. But it's the people who are like, yeah, let me tell you my whole life journey about this tattoo. It's like, okay, all right now.
and clearly you spent a lot of time in prison doing a lot of reflecting. You've
Mhm.
talked about the importance of therapy and
Mhm.
how you rely on that. And to me, it seems like there's an earnest and clear effort from you to reinvent yourself, to
Mhm.
almost reprogram, yourself. And you went all this abuse that you went through. Do you remember that moment in prison that, you thought to yourself, I'm going to make the most of this? Because not
Mhm.
everyone does that. We're a show that we like to talk about the fact that life is about making mistakes and
Mhm.
learning from them. Not everyone chooses to learn from their mistakes, but
Mhm.
you clearly were someone who seems like they tried to make the most of their time while in prison. And yeah, do you remember that moment? Was there an epiphany of like, I don't want to be this person.
Mhm.
I actually want to take accountability for the role I played and not let this define me?
Actually, there was a class that I took, and it was called ICVC. And it's an acronym for Impact of Crime on Victims.
Okay.
And I took this class. It was a 12-week
Thank you for the membership zone, man. Shout him out.
Class.
Shout her out.
and it's all about accountability. And so as I was going through the courses, I realized that I had made mistakes before my crime. I had made choices before my crime. And I feel like even though I didn't get in trouble for those things, this was a chance and an opportunity for me to honestly learn from those things that I've done in the past. So, and I completed that class and actually went back to teach the class.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
it was really enjoyable for me to pass the baton on and just kind of like teach others what I have learned. It was a very impactful class for me. And I think it's sad, there are people that don't want to better themselves, but for me, it was always known. It was part of that freedom to do, things with my life that I've never done before. So one of the first things I did was, get into GED classes because I wanted to better my education.
I think the world has a ton of empathy for what you went through. And I think sometimes...
Okay, a bunch of you guys are talking about Gypsy's legs. Listen. She hasn't been on the outside like that for too long, okay? I don't know. Maybe they didn't teach her how to cross her legs, because, yeah, that's a wild... That's like... Isn't that the man cross? Because look at the host on the left. You see how that's the female cross, and then this is the male cross right here. I don't know how to explain it, but there's one way where your legs pinch together. Then there's the other ones where the nuts are hanging. And that's how I always assumed how if you want to be classy as a male, wide squat, you wide cross, right? What Gypsy is doing. And then if you want to be an elegant woman or whatever, you pinch cross or whatever the fuck you call that leg cross. So, yeah, I mean, maybe she just doesn't know. You guys are great. This is like the 4th or 5th comment I saw about it, so I thought I'd just talk about it. I mean, yeah, it's not, yeah.
The questions people do have, a lot of people have watched the documentaries, have seen the act. And I think it's that those scenes at the end where you're being interrogated by the police and you're lying initially about what happened. And so much of that documentary also talks about your mother and her deceit and her ability to manipulate so many people. And a kind of a through line or a common question throughout the documentary was kind of, how much of Gypsy's mom is potentially still in you and what you learned and, those behaviors. Do you think about that? And is that something that you've actively tried to overcome?
Of course. I lived with her for 24 years of my life, and she did things in her life. She shoplifted. There was fraud. Like, there was a lot of things that she was doing.
Let's back this up.
She did things in her life. She shoplifted.
Hold on, back it up.
Behavior is potentially still in you and with what you learned and, those behaviors. Do you think about that? And is that something that you've actively tried to overcome? Of course.
I lived with her for 24 years of my life, and she did things in her life. She shoplifted. There was fraud. Like, there was a lot of things, criminal activity that she was doing that I grew up in. I watched her do all these things. So for me, it is a conscious effort to, go back in my mind and realize that is the wrong thing to do. This is the right way to do things. I'm reprogramming myself, and it takes a minute. I have a pretty clear knowledge of right and wrong now, the obvious stuff. But for the things that maybe aren't so clear or the lines are maybe a little blurry, I do have a wonderful dad and a wonderful stepmom and a wonderful husband that I can ask them questions like, hey, what do you think about this? And also I'm in therapy. So I talk about it with my therapist. I'm very raw and honest in saying, hey, I know that this was not a normal childhood. I'm the product of someone that was very deceitful. How do I prevent myself from falling prey to being like her? I don't think I'm like my mother at all. I try actively not to be.
Quite honestly, from everything I've seen and just a little bit getting to know you, to me, it's the effort. It's the awareness and the acknowledgement and just the ability to recognize the challenges you face, to recognize and even admit sometimes it can be scary as a victim to acknowledge what's happened to you. So the fact that you're even doing that is, I think, inspiring, and it says a lot about the effort and progress you've made.
Thank you. I try.
Speaking of these documentaries and shows, have you watched all of them
don't have your
that
own
have been
morals
out
by
about
then?
you?
Actually, I haven't watched any of them.
Any of them?
Any of
Are
them.
you
Because
actively doing that, or is that just like I couldn't watch it?
No. I'm proud of the HBO doc that I did. I did an interview for that. I'm very proud of it. I'm very close with the writer and the producer.
Hey, see you later, Vanessa. Appreciate you coming through.
Producers and everything. I'm close with the people that we worked with it, but I'm not there yet. Yeah. I lived it, so I just don't feel a need to watch all this stuff.
To relive it.
Right, to relive it. Like, telling it and doing these interviews are hard enough. Like, at the end of the day, I have, like, trauma. And so for me.
So why are you doing them though? You know, she doesn't really have to. Casey Jones, thank you for the 2. Love you, AG. Hey, shout out Casey Jones. Appreciate you. I love you too, man. Shit. Thank you, Casey.
Having to do interviews is, in a sense, reliving it. And I can bet you that I'll have a nightmare reliving it all over again. So I don't need to watch it.
I think it's definitely different to watch people try to portray to be you and your mother, and how hard that could be to watch and be like, well, that's not how that happened. Or that, you know, like, I can't imagine having to watch that back as you. So I understand you not watching that.
Yeah, she won't even.
See, this is I'll read this comment because I want to. Pearl pointed out a good thing right here. She says Sunflower Sky. Nick asked her multiple times if she couldn't just leave. She said offing her mom was the only way that they could be together, word for word, which is why it really just fucks me up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, even the guy who's supposed to be this monster, who's willing to just go savage for your mom. I mean, go savage for you. Even him, he's like, hey, can't you just leave? Can't you just walk out of the house? We already went to the movies. We've had sex already. You clearly can leave. We could just plan. You know what I'm saying? We can just plan. Let's go to another movie or just something. Leave the house and never go back. It's so simple. Let's continue. But that's what I'm saying, bro.
I don't watch my seasons of The Bachelor. So,
I get it.
That being said, have you been made aware of what's in it, and whether any family members watched it, and specifically the act? Because I think there's a lot of people who know your story through that show. Are you aware of any inaccuracies that were portrayed that bothered you, or did you hear about it, or are you just kind of completely oblivious to what is in that show?
You know, I have had my stepmom Chrissy. She watched it. She watched all the episodes, and she was kind of relaying what all was put in there. And there is a bunch of inaccuracies, according to her. So, and actually, a couple of fans of the show was like, "Do you still have the hamsters?" And I'm like, I've never owned a hamster in my life. I had cats. So
that's wrong.
That's definitely
that was a
wrong.
weird creative choice.
I know, I don't get it. But also the way they portrayed, you know, one of my friends that lived in the neighborhood, Aaliyah, the way they portrayed her was, I guess, more of like a wild child, a rebel, you know, a delinquent or something. And she's actually a really sweet girl. And, you know, she got into nursing. So she works at a nursing home. So I think that for me, I don't care so much about the inaccuracies of that show, because I'm doing this all stuff. Like, I'm out now.
Right.
I have a voice now. The hardest thing was to watch everyone tell my story and, you know, get it wrong and speculate and everything. But now I'm free. I have it's my turn now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One thing you've been very open about is your relationship with Nick. You mentioned the abuse. You mentioned just kind of, you know, some of his dark desires. Something that really bothered me when I was watching the act is he comes across a little sympathetic towards the end. They highlight his autism. Do you have any thoughts about that? And despite what Nick did to you and your mother.
Now, this is the thing. Despite the thing Nick did to you and your mother, this is where let's see how much she throws him under the bus.
Do you have any empathy for him being in prison and what he has gone through?
You know, I think that we both, like him and I, both have a lot of regrets. You know, obviously I wish that this would have never happened this way. Now, for him specifically, you know, I did my time. I know he's doing his time for his part of things. You know, I hope that whatever he does with his future, because he is spending the rest of his life in prison, I acknowledge that I am the reason for that. However, I don't feel either that each one of my exes and even my husband is like, baby, if you would have asked me that question, if you would have said, hey, can you kill my mom to get me out of this situation? They would have said, no. Okay, no, we're not doing that.
Let's go to the police.
Let's go to the police. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get you out of this situation, but let's go to the authorities. All right, and we're gonna do this the right way. Nick did not say that. You know, he has
Bro, he's fucking autistic, and you're telling him this is the only way, baby. This is the only way. We must murder her. You must be my I love you. I'm your baby girl. I'm your little girl. I'm your little daughter. You have to teach me, bro. He's like he's a literal person. How is he supposed to be guiding you? Come on, bro. That's the bullshit about this. Honestly. You don't want to say poor Nick, but sometimes you just think it every once in a while. Like, damn, poor. If anything else happened to him, I honestly feel like he would have had a regular life. Like in the future, like say he took a different path in the video game, you know, and he never killed Dee Dee. I don't think he would have killed anybody. Honestly. So, anyways, we're going to play a little bit more. I'm going to skip up to Ryan's part, because that's when shit apparently starts getting good. Can't do it no more. We're skipping on to Ryan. Let's get a little freshening up in the room. Okay, so, you know, Mr. Food Hoarder, Mr. Rotten Food, Mr. Great D, apparently, Mr. Ryan Anderson, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring him in, everybody. Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Ryan Anderson in.
Well, now that you're married, and to the lovely Ryan who I've gotten to meet, should we bring him in here? And
Does she ever lower her leg? Hold on, let's do a fast send. Oh God, and he has his hand on her leg. Oh God, this is so. Oh my Lord Jesus. Oh, he keeps his hand there the whole time. What is going on? No, this is. I'm literally getting goosebumps on my hands. Oh, put your hand down. Oh, she changes it. Okay. She changes it at 1 hour and 12 minutes. Let's do this, guys.
Ryan a
yeah.
little bit?
Let's
All
get,
right, let's
let's
do
get
it.
him in here.
Get in here, Ryan.
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Have a seat.
Come sit next to me.
I will, baby. I will.
Oh God. Oh no.
All right, Ryan, we have to ask you, how is your heart?
Oh, she does it
How
right
is
there.
my heart?
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean?
And she puts it back up the same way. No. Gypsy, what are you doing?
I will, baby. I will.
Look at how she has that motherfucker tucked. No, Gypsy.
All right, Ryan, we have to ask you, how
No,
is
Gypsy.
your heart?
Just leave him down.
How is my heart?
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean?
Like, how is it feeling? Is it Gypsy's heart is full?
Oh, my heart is completely full.
Okay.
Like I'm amazed every day that I'm with this woman right here. Like it's been a roller coaster ride, but I'm enjoying it. I love the fact that I'm the one that's honored to be next to her.
You guys have already been through a lot. Gypsy, you in the documentary, again, I love your openness. Like
Thanks.
it's for
Thank
someone
you.
who's been criticized for being deceitful and a liar. I'm really inspired by what seems to me a genuine effort to try to get it right. And you talked a little bit about, lying to your stepmother. You've talked about lying to Ryan, about Ken. How have you guys continued to work through the struggles that you have had? And how has Ryan continued to be supportive throughout that struggle?
I think it's all about communication. My dad, one of the first things he said when I got engaged was, you need to have good communication or else everything's going to fall apart. So our
Now look, this archetype. Hold on.
communication skills are like on point. We're very open and honest with each other, even brutally honest. So if it's something that we don't want to hear, we're going to hear it anyway, because that's that honesty.
Yeah. How about you,
Absolutely.
Ryan? How's this been for you?
Me and Gypsy decided long ago when we got together, we just wanted to be open and honest with each other. Like she said, even if it hurts my feelings or vice versa, we wanted it to be a transparent relationship. We want this to work, and it's one of those where, I have that unconditional love for her and she does too. Like she has said in the past that I love the good and the bad, Gypsy. I don't because in past relationships,
This can work, but you have to be that guy. You know what I mean? You have to. First, I think you have to be putting it down. You have to really be working with something, and 2, you have to be charismatic. But I've seen this type of a relationship work. It does. It's not, and I mean, she's not even. First of all, let's be real. Hold on. I mean, it can. I've seen it happen, but let's be real. Like, it doesn't happen often.
People have glamorized her and, have this perception of her, of that little girl and whatever. But I just love the person, Gypsy, good and bad. So it's one of those where it's great.
People have talked about, they've been critical of you guys rushing, acknowledging that, hey, Gypsy hasn't even had a normal life outside of prison. What has been the first week been like? And have there been already kind of like, oh, okay, well, this is new. I'm all right. Like, okay, didn't know that. But in any of those moments, any of those things, you guys have had to have a moment and said, okay, this is the beginning of us learning about each other. And, quite honestly, Natalie and I still, have those moments. But what's it been like for you guys?
I mean, it's been very enjoyable. I was at home. I don't think that there's anything that really shocked me about him, but I will say this right now. So,
This is breaking news.
It's coming. So he's getting used to putting the toilet seat down for me because he's been living, by himself for so long. I'm like, and he's like, oh, I put it down every time. I'm like, so I found it and I found it up and I took a picture of it and I'm like, no,
as I'm
you
buying
don't.
her shoes, like as I leave to go buy her something.
I left it up the other night, buddy.
I got a picture of it. It's like, see, here's proof. And I was just like,
you're like, well, I'm
going to take your shoes back now. Yeah, I'm going to take these shoes back now. No, she got me on that one.
What about for you? Anything, that you've learned?
Man, listen, there's already tension in the air. I can smell it. You guys can't smell that? That's tension right there. Yeah. That's tension. Just saying.
About Gypsy that's been,
been
interesting
new.
To learn?
Well,
Besides that she's not a great cook.
Well, she's going to work on that. My mother has told her that she would help her. There's some things that I've learned but it's been great. Like, there's not anything that I don't enjoy.
What's one thing you've really enjoyed that surprised you that you've learned?
Well, I love how organized she is. She came in and, I already had like half the closet set up for her, but she took it all. And I was like, fine, take it. I don't care. And it's one of those where
tension. I gave her half the closet, but she took it all. But it's okay. Tension.
I love how organized she is. So our kitchen's like the next project. She's going to go in there and make it her own. And I told her from the get-go, like, when you come home, this is your home. Like, feel free to move anything around that you want, and I will adapt. I'm the man. I'll adapt. You make it your own. And so that's what she's been doing, and it's been great. We were supposed to be in Kansas City for the first weekend she was out, and then plans changed. So
yeah, what happened there, Gypsy?
So my parole officer, I have 2. So my parole officer in Louisiana said, yeah, you're good to go to the game. I don't mind you spending a few days in Kansas City. I'm good with that. I won't meet with you until after the holidays. So the day after I get out and we're having this gathering with my parents and my family and my friends and all
just
this.
got done shopping for shoes.
Yeah.
Like the
we went to the
shoes.
shoe store.
So people are following us at this time.
Yes. We were hounded by paparazzi. But I got a call and it was my Missouri parole officer saying, so are you on your way back to Louisiana? And I'm like, no. I'm like, we're gonna stay a few days in Kansas City.
I was very skeptical because, like I said, we were being hounded by media. Like, people were following us, and a strange number calls my phone because I was the connection.
Sure.
And I kind of questioned the parole officer at first. I was like, how do we know? Because he answers the phone and he says, I'm so and so. I need to know where you're going and where you're at. And I was kind of like, no, you're not getting that information. No, we got people following us. I'm not telling you where we're going. And Gypsy finally had to like calm me down because I raised it up, and then she's like, stop, it might actually be him.
Yeah, it
and
might
I was
actually
like,
be him.
okay. So then I let her take over, and then come to find out it was her Missouri parole officer telling her she had to leave like right then.
Yeah, because he didn't give me permission.
Somebody told me she might break her parole. Hey, you never know. I said there's no way in hell she was going to break her parole and go back to jail. No way and no chance. But hey, shit, she was only out for a little bit. She's already she's getting used to things, but yeah, she might end up fucking up.
Louisiana one did, but the Missouri one didn't.
Pretty crazy.
And so the Missouri one overruled the Louisiana one.
Wow.
And we have some.
Yeah, I said I bet Ryan raises his hand when he has a question for Gypsy. That's crazy. He does give you that kind of. He's a big guy, but he also seems like he doesn't use it. He's not very. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about him, but it's just like you already make me skeptical, big dog, because like you're writing people in prison, like, and then you marry her.
Theories, some might not be right, some might be good. Yeah, she's telling me not to say them.
Oh no, we can't share the theories.
Is it more so just like the attention? Like, do you feel like it's your?
I think partly it was because of my safety. I really feel like partly it was because of my safety, because I think that they were aware of how big this was gonna get before it even happened. So they're like
Ryan
get her back to
it.
No.
I mean, news got out that we were going to a Chiefs-Bengals game.
Yes, it did. Yes,
It did.
And you know the rest, right?
Yeah.
Can you picture what I'm saying? Chiefs-Bengals game? Who's
Taylor
So-
Swift.
Yeah,
Taylor
he
Swift.
I didn't
that-
say it.
All right, well, I will. So he thinks that Taylor Swift is people, not her herself, wanted to protect her because here's the situation. I just want to clarify for a second.
That's right. Tell the story.
Yeah, I'm going to tell the story.
Let's let
So
them have it.
I just,
Clear the air.
Taylor probably will hear this.
okay, so here's the thing.
She's a big fan.
I am. So,
We are too.
okay.
Yeah,
So
she's
about
good.
6 months before I got out of prison, Ryan and I were looking at fun things to do in Kansas City.
Absolutely.
And so he saw that there was going to be a Chiefs-Bengals game. And he's a Bengals fan. He's a
That's
Joe
right.
Burrow
Joe
fan.
Burrow fan. I
Who's
mean,
your-
LSU.
Huh?
Who's your team?
Who's my team? The Saints.
Okay.
The New Orleans Saints.
Who dat?
That's my home team. So anyway, I said, okay, that would be so cool. Let's buy tickets because that would be so much fun to do on New Year's Eve. So we bought our tickets, and then 3 months or so later, I find out that Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce. And so I'm like, that would be so cool if she was at the game and like I got to meet her.
Just happened
Like,
to
just
run into
happened
her.
to run
Like,
into her.
Not like
That'd be
we're going
cool.
to find
Right.
her.
It was
Yeah.
so it was so like nonchalant. It was just like that would be cool, because she's my favorite singer. And then TMZ got a hold of the story,
Mhm.
but also TMZ, not to say anything bad about TMZ, called me a felon. So I mean, in the article,
Like famous murderers looking
yeah,
for Taylor Swift.
something like
It's
that.
that's
So-
her first
and
thing
the-
she wants to do.
yeah,
Fresh out of jail.
comments, the
great.
comments were like,
I mean, come on. I mean, don't let it hurt your feelings. Again, you want to publicize your life. She's like, "Oh, respect my privacy, ma'am. This is your 4th interview, or so. Your boyfriend over here, your husband, seems ecstatic. Is that how you say it? He seems ecstatic that there's people following. Oh, there's people following us, and it was amazing, and it was such a good time, and there was just I've never seen that before. You guys look like you're having a great fucking time. A great fucking time. Just a jolly old day. So, I mean, come on. Take the negative with the positive. Don't be a bitch. She's over here crying about every little negative comment. Ma'am, the more people uncover the story, the more people are not going to like her. So, I mean, get used to it.
oh my God, Taylor Swift is in danger. This murderer is going to come after her.
no.
And
So
it became this
got
big
blown
thing.
way out of
Yeah.
proportion.
It got blown out of proportion. I'm not a stalker.
So you weren't in any way trying to
Absolutely.
do like a forced meet.
No,
with Taylor
not
or
at all.
anything like
Not at
that.
all. I was just like, that would have been cool if we would have ran into her.
Honestly,
it is what it is.
there's other girls that go to Kansas City Chiefs games hoping that they run
There's
into Taylor.
there's
I mean,
people who are more
cameras point to her during the game. So it's
Exactly.
not
There's
like,
emphasis on
She's
it.
more at danger from her fans than
Right.
she is from
And-
Gypsy.
And
Right,
then
right.
when we found out we had to leave, my first thought was, God, we had so much fun stuff planned. It wasn't just the game.
Yeah.
We had other stuff planned. Like we were going this place called Enchant. It was like where they turn a baseball field into a giant ice hockey rink and with lights everywhere. Like,
Yeah, Christmas lights. It's
Yeah,
this whole
we were gonna have,
Christmas
like, a
winter
romantic
wonderland
thing
thing.
and- but
Mhm.
it, that was the one thing that I was shocked about her getting out is like plans change at a drop of a hat.
Mhm.
So it was one of those where that was an adjustment, because I realized, yes, Gypsy does have to follow rules. Like she's technically still considered property of the state.
Yeah, what are
considered
your-
she's on parole.
What are your
Right.
limitations?
Okay, so my limitations are no contact with my co-defendant, Nicholas Godejohn. take a therapy, therapy. Then I can't drink alcohol and I can't use drugs, which I don't want to use drugs. So,
Right.
and I have to ask for permission to leave the state of Louisiana.
Right.
And other than that, like those are pretty simple conditions.
Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
Not bad at all.
It's totally workable.
just we have to do it for a year and a half. But
Yeah.
when they give advanced directives, we have to follow. So it was one of those where like we had to leave the state. So it was one of those where we got back home, but it was a blessing in disguise because like I said, she got to organize her home, and we got to spend New Year's Eve together and with her family and her parents.
Well,
So
it
it was.
depends. Has it been 2 years? You said you saw her drinking at the beach. It could be virgin, you never know. And her probation is probably over because I think she had to do probation for the remainder of her sentence. So that's like 2 years. So when did I'm not even going to look it up when she was released, but her probation is probably relaxed or over at this point. Again, it's Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Hollywood's babe. You know what I mean? They'll probably cut corners. They'll probably leave her alone.
It was wonderful. It turned into a blessing.
Awesome.
It really
That's
did.
awesome. Again, you've talked a lot about how important therapy is to you, and I'm getting the impression that regardless of what your parole requires you to do, you're committed to therapy.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, Ryan sees a therapist as well.
Okay.
Because about a year ago,
What's up, April Showers?
I had asked
you.
him if
Trying to
he
better yourself. Why
There
not,
you
right?
go.
We're
Yeah.
both in therapy.
There you go. I was just
gotta
gonna
have somebody to talk to, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and somebody that's unbiased because before that we were going to our parents, and it was kind of a bad situation because they are biased,
Right.
and so we were getting advice. Oh, he's such a whatever. Oh, she's such a whatever. I needed someone that
Actually,
he
you
could
went
go
to your parents. I didn't go to mine. But whatever.
yeah, but your mom seems to intervene
Tension.
and on my behalf
I
and
guess she does.
everything.
I guess
So
she We're married now. They can do that.
Yeah. So I think therapy just kind of helped him acclimate to me because I'm very emotionally taxing. For the first year of our relationship, I put you through test after test after test just to see if you'd stay.
Yeah.
I put you through hell.
I used to say that she'd push me off a cliff and then she'd peek over and say, "Are you still
I'd be
there?"
like, I miss you.
And then-
Was there ever a moment where you thought to yourself, I don't know if I could do this. I'm not sure if this is the situation for me?
That
Honestly,
was the first real fucking question asked on the podcast. Did you ever think, what the fuck are you doing, sir? Yeah, that's the question I want to know. What am I doing talking to this mother murderer? Just curious to myself. Like, you ever have that conversation with yourself where you just be like, hey, what you doing real quick? I just need to check up with you real quick. Yeah, what were you thinking?
no, because like I knew what we had. That was what I was always fall back on is like, we have it and I'm not gonna risk it. It was one of those where I would say you push me off a cliff, but you've seen those people that put tents on a cliff and they nail it in. I would be like, I'm just hanging out for a couple of days. It's no biggie. And then when she'd finally peek over and be like, you still there? I'm like, yeah, I'm right here. Sweetie.
I always
Throw the
come
rope
back.
over.
Yeah,
pull you
I'm
up.
back, pull me back up.
I always come
But-
back.
No, that shit is sick. What the fuck are we doing? Yeah, what? We're talking about a man who's saying he'll string himself up at the edge of a cliff until she ropes him back up. This is toxicity at its finest, folks. Come on. Good job, Gypsy, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is good at this. She's good at this. Who does she get it from? She got it from her mama. Come on now.
But now that we're married, those moments don't happen. They really don't. Like I think she did that just to see how much I loved her and see if I was here for the real deal.
It's a thing people do.
It's a thing people do,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But since we've been married, it's been smooth sailing.
Have you guys ever considered couples therapy? Even though things seem to be
Yeah.
going great, Nally and I, we actively do couples therapy. We're big believers in being proactive with our relationship. Is that something you two would ever consider, especially given like just the intensity of your relationship and all the other outside influences that, whether you want it to or not, you two are going to have to deal with? You have to deal with fans, family, stresses, and for us, couples therapy is just a great way to always check in, to always reconnect. Is that something you guys would be open to?
Oh yeah, I'm good with the couples therapy. I was actually trying to look for a couples therapist. before I even got out of prison and before we even got married. I was listening to marriage podcast and relationship podcast.
you
I'd
was.
send him an episode. I'm like, let's talk about this one and just talk about the topic. How do you feel about that? So I was like doing all of that before we even got married.
That was
That's
different.
awesome.
That was different. But, but it was just like, you got to listen to this podcast. And I'm like, yeah, but I really listen to this podcast. You know, I'm just being a guy.
He's giving you homework.
Yeah, homework.
Basically. It was like a book report. No, she's right. Like we're open.
Couldn't be me. I've been through my fair share. I've been through 2 toxic relationships. Nope, I'm good. Fuck that. You're testing me. You're sending me. Nope. I don't know if I've just nope, can't. I dropped her ass so fast. I wouldn't have even engaged with her in the first place. That's where you fucked up. You started talking to her.
Open and honest to the opportunity to do therapy. Like if we ever needed it, you know, this fame thing is so new that
This fame thing, bro, chill, relax, brother. Relax.
it's kind of overwhelmed me in a sorts of like, I didn't realize it'd be as big as it is.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think she'd have 6 million followers on TikTok and Instagram overnight. But it's one of those things where, you know, she's always been worried that I was, you know, going to leave for the fame, you know, because of past relationships. And I've told her that I'm not going anywhere. You know, like we'll work through whatever we need to work through.
You're her rock.
Yeah, I'm here for the long haul. Like I'm till death do us part. I mean that.
That
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
One thing
She
we
doesn't look at him. She never looks at him. You see how these two, their energy is more aligned, like when she speaks. So I feel like it's not even energy alignment. It's just being 2 human beings that are able to enjoy each other's company. He looks at her. Look at my cursor. This gentleman looks at her when she speaks. She looks at him when he speaks. She's right next to him. You know where she's looking? At her. Seeing at her reaction. The whole time. If you notice it the whole time, he's speaking, pouring his heart out, you know, just pouring his little heart out, and she's over here like, yep, do you guys like this? Is this good optics? Is this good? Does this look good? Okay. All right, shut up now, Ryan. Let me talk. Look at her face.
It's one of those things where, you know, she's always been worried that I was, you know, going to leave for the fame, you know, because of it.
Look at her. She's like, shut up, Ryan.
Because of past relationships. And I've told her that I'm not going anywhere. You know, like we'll work through whatever we need to work through.
You're her rock.
Yeah, I'm here for the long haul. Like I'm till death do us part. I mean that.
That
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
One thing we learned in couples therapy, and it is something when we were watching on the way to do the interview that Natalie reminded me. You talked about Ken. You know, obviously you needed to tell Ryan that you spoke with him. Obviously that was an omission. That is a lie that you told.
Right.
But the dream part. You know, sometimes Natalie we have gone through this too. It's just like we always want to be honest. We want to tell each other everything. And I've been like, that's like, all right, babe. I was like, I had this dream and I did this thing, and she's just like, what the fuck are you like? What is going on? It's just like we learned in couples therapy. It's just like, yeah, you can be honest, but sometimes you can you don't have to be honest with every thought you have.
Okay.
As to not trigger your partner, where it's just like, well, okay, you had a dream, but do I need to worry about your dream? Like, what the fuck is going on?
You're right.
Like,
You're right.
That trauma trigger.
Not to offer you guys
Yes,
unsolicited
yes.
advice, but it
Right.
was something that we stuck with, that stuck with us, because you can do that. Like in that effort of wanting to be open and transparent, and like especially for you, is like you've made this considered effort to be like, I want to be an honest, I want to be a truthful person, and to just want to pour everything out. But like sometimes it can help to just be like, you know, I probably didn't need to know
Right.
that.
Didn't need to know that. You know, it's funny that
It's
you.
happened before.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's happened a time or
before.
two.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's actually funny that you mentioned that because, you know, being open and honest. The day that I got out of prison, Ken texted my stepmom and
I
was
don't
like,
like him
"Hey,
at
what's up?" And
Stop.
she told me about it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, so now he wants to come around."
No.
And so I told Ryan about it. I was
Yeah.
open, and I'm like, you know, he's sniffing around.
Why do you think he decided?
Sniffing around, and I gave it to him a few months later. He's the definition of you don't have to worry about him, babe. Ryan, listen to me, brother. Don't do this shit again, okay? Come on now. This guy insecure than a motherfucker over here.
It's time to pop back up.
Because I think now I'm free, and I don't think that he has respect for my marriage.
He didn't, and he didn't have to because he still got between them legs like he wanted to. So, yeah. And you didn't respect the marriage either. He didn't have respect for my marriage? No, he didn't. And he shouldn't have had, because clearly you was finna give it to anybody, so why should he give a fuck? Come on now.
He doesn't like me because I've called him names. Like I have, he's known as something to me.
Oh, yeah, you're insecure about it.
See why you should like him.
Yeah, I call him a dumb mother, So every time
You can
that,
swear on
like,
this podcast.
he's reached out to me before.
Has he?
Because,
Bold.
Gypsy has, like, asked me to text him, like, hey, we're married now? Text him, because, like,
he still has my stuff.
he has
Like, he has
stuff of
stuff
hers
of
that he,
mine,
like,
old
holds.
pictures and stuff that I sent to him to hold on to.
Like, because they were together for a long
Things
time.
you want to get back, or
Yeah, things I wanted. Like, I bought along my time. I was like, oh, this is so cute in this clothing magazine. I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna send it to your house, and then when I get out, you could give it to me. And so I've asked him to just ship my stuff to my stepmom, and then I can get it from her. And he's like, no, I still have all that stuff, but like,
You can come get it.
you can come get it.
Yeah, like he's holding
I'm like,
her
no.
stuff hostage, and I just think he's a dumb motherfucker. I'm part of my language. I just don't like him.
Well, and period.
Preach, yeah, that's how
I mean, I don't like. I mean,
Ryan, he was the smartest motherfucker in the room.
I call him that because how would you leave this wonderful woman? I mean, I'm thankful that he did because I'm with her now, and like,
But also him keeping your stuff hostage. That's a classic
not all
ex
right.
shady move.
it's a shady move.
You can get new stuff, Gypsy.
I am. I mean, I got all new stuff, better stuff.
Those hoodies, those shirts, they're replaceable.
Yeah,
I've already
absolutely.
got plenty of stuff.
I
It's
feel
really good.
like, if he's sniffing around to try and like break me and Ryan up or see if I will leave Ryan to get back with him, this is how I feel about it. If you're not going to be there at my worst, you do not deserve me at my best.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you know anything about Gypsy's Instagram and you've seen the recent comments, she's not going anywhere.
I'm
You know,
fine.
It turns out the D is fire.
The D is fire.
Come
So-
and get it, baby.
He's already.
This shit is awkward, bro. This shit is...
Missed his chance. It is what it is.
But like, how fire?
Oh, so fire. So fire.
And did you
It's coming all over the place, huh? Just like you're a whole new woman. You had 4 or 5 orgasms, huh? So fire. If you sure, Gypsy. Look at her face. Look at the face though. This shit literally kind of like gives me like goosebumps, bro. Like what you're lying to us. You are lying to me. You know what? I could be lying. I could be wrong. And I'll stand by that one. But I think she's lying to us.
baby.
He's missed his chance. It is what it is.
But like, how fire?
Oh, so fire.
So fire. So fire. You're not convincing me, Gypsy.
Fire.
And did you come and get it?
I did.
Yes, she did. She did.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it was one of those where like she made that comment. I was reading my phone. She made a comment. I'm like, whoa. And then I was
went
like,
there.
fine, you know what? I'll go
Yeah, I
back.
went there.
And then all of a sudden it was like our phones were down. And
And now it's all over everywhere. I've been asked
Yes.
about it all the
Yeah.
time. All my comments are the D is fire. I'm like, oh my God.
Did you see someone took the liberty of editing in what would look like Taylor Swift and Travis having the same conversation?
No.
I'll show you when we're done. It was kind of, and someone's like, is this real? And they're like, no, it's Gypsy and Ride.
Did you see those memes? Have you there's
She fixed
just
her
I'm
legs. She fixed her legs, folks. Good job, Jip. We must be at one. Oh, she fixed it a little earlier. Good job, Jip. You figured it out. Good job.
I'll show you when we're done. It was kind of, and someone's like, is this real? And they're like, no, it's Gypsy and Ride.
Did you see those memes? Have you? There's just, I'm sure, so much that you have
Oh, it's,
got. But
I-
everyone
There's a
was
lot.
doing these countdowns before you got out.
Really?
And it was you, and it was like the prison bars rising, and it was to like, yeah, I'm a cunt. Yeah, I'm a cunt. I'm a cunt. It was like hyping you up. It was so funny, and it was just every day there was a new one with a countdown.
Well, we had our own countdown.
Yeah,
that
we
I
did.
wouldn't create until a year out. So it was one of those Gypsies like, do it now. We're married. I'm like, no, babe. We got like 400, 500 days. I'm like, when we get to 365, we'll count it down. So, it was kind of strange watching it hit 50 and then 30 and then boom. And then it was, I still can't believe that she's been out 7 days. And it's been probably the best 7 days of my life.
That's incredible. You guys are married. You've talked about wanting to do another ceremony to kind of.
7 days after she's been out, this is her, third, fourth interview? But please respect my privacy, guys. Like, I can heal at my own speed, guys. Like, you cannot tell me. Listen, you went on every podcast you could go on. You're in it for the money. Come on, it's obvious. And I mean, do you, but don't lie about it. At least be like open about it. Just be like, yeah, I'm in it for the money. Fuck it. I would respect her more.
Do this, the ceremony that you truly want. What are some things that you want at your wedding that you didn't get to have at your original one? And is there a honeymoon that you guys hope to plan? And where would you want to go?
Okay, so
Great question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I definitely am excited about the dress.
Yeah, every girl needs that white
I
dress
need the
moment,
dress.
right? And
I
Gypsy
need the
especially.
cake.
Yeah.
I know is a good dressmaker.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
She's already got an idea of what she wants.
Yeah,
like
the
it was
style
funny.
and everything.
Somebody asked her what she wanted, and she was like hit it perfectly. And I was like, I've been
Specific.
thinking about it a lot. I wasn't ready for that. But yeah, we want to do it. We want to try to do it as close to our anniversary as possible.
What is that anniversary?
When is that?
July 21st, we got married. So July 21st, 22. You look online, everybody says June 22nd or
Yeah,
whatever
there was
it was.
so much speculation.
So,
It's
yeah.
awesome that you know that, Nick. When did we get engaged?
Oh, it was 1/12/23.
Okay.
Very good.
Very
Very
nice.
good.
It took
He
a
hit you
minute.
with
It
that,
took a
though.
minute.
I only remember
I
because it's
get
like
a
it's a
dap
what?
on
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I crushed
So
that
good.
engagement though. So
Did you?
Awesome.
Yeah, we I did a whole thing.
Well,
I could not imagine sharing a channel and podcast with a significant other. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Just saying. Like it feels like a recipe for disaster. Yeah. It doesn't seem like it would work out. I don't know. Much love to them though. They have a fat ass following. 170K subscribers. They got 1.2 million views on this show. So hey, they're doing their thing. But yeah, I don't know.
I had to do mine in.
You crushed yours, man.
Man, I did mine in prison, and she ended up getting in trouble for like 30 days. She couldn't call me. Yeah,
I did. I got phone restriction because I
Yeah.
smuggled in a ring.
Smuggled in a ring, like, and they almost banned. They almost banned me
Exactly.
for. Like, They almost
Really?
banned me for 6 months for it. Yeah, because like you can't give contraband, but
Yeah.
like I wanted to ask her to marry me with a real ring.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those
Yeah.
where, and then she wore it, and they saw it during photos, and you know they didn't think anything of it. They didn't end our visit, but it was funny. It was. I had the engagement ring, and then it came with a wedding band, so I put the wedding band on my chain.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way out, she was like, can you take your chain off? And I was like, for what? Like in my head, I'm like, why? And then I showed her, and she was like, okay, did you give Gypsy a ring? And I'm like, no, of course not. This ring's my grandmother's. I would never. And she said, well, that's funny because the ring we confiscated looks just like that wedding band that's on your chain.
Like,
And finally, she was like, come clean. I was like, yes, I did. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
it was for
I
love.
was like, I love her. And then she was like, thank you for being honest. Look, you won't get in trouble. But later,
We can't do
it's funny.
Can't do
She
that.
called me after we left. She's like, hey, baby, yeah, they got my ring. But everything was good. And then I was like, baby, let me tell you what happened. She was like, what'd you say? What'd you do? And I was like, baby, I didn't do anything. And then later she got in trouble like a week later.
Yeah.
You talked a lot in the documentary about, and you referenced earlier that you really put him through it, and that you can push and you can be reactive sometimes. Where are you guys now with that, and how have you worked through that issue?
Well, I definitely am not as reactionary as I used to be. Because we're able to actually be in the same room. We're able to touch. We're able to hug. I was just so insecure while I was in prison. I'm like, there's no way he's going to stay. There's no way he's going to stay. Something's going to F it up. And I'm going to F it up because I'm just not going to do this right. And I was trying to like not make the mistakes I did with Ken. But he's not Ken. And
not at all.
Not
Way
at all.
better in every aspect.
Sounds like a little bit of insecurity there, bruv. A little insecurity. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Yeah. So anyway, that's a good segue.